It's a fashion night at Allegheny General Hospital in Pittsburgh. The models are surgeons, oncologists, and radiologists. And the hats, they're made by an impressive group of women, those battling and surviving breast cancer. Everyone here has a story.
I never missed a mammogram. Every year to within a week, I had my mammogram.
It was a shock. I have no family history. I had no health issues.
And yet Talia Piazza of Mount Washington and Naomi Howard of Hampton Township found themselves with the same frightening challenge, dealing with breast cancer. Their circumstances are different, but they share the same spunk and determination. Talia's ordeal began in January of 2009. She was just 25 years old.
I had felt a lump in my right breast and thought I needed to get it checked out, and I did. And within 2 weeks, I had a diagnosis.
That diagnosis was stage 2 breast cancer. The tumor was large, but it hadn't spread to the lymph nodes.
After you get the news and after you sort of make sense of it in your head, you have to tell people.
Talia didn't want to take any chances. She underwent chemotherapy and then a bilateral mastectomy and reconstructive surgery.
I wanted to do everything I could to give me the best chance of this never coming back, to put it behind me and move on and just lead a normal life.
And Talia was happily moving on in life, enjoying her family and friends, and continuing her work in neighborhood development. That is until the beginning of this year, when routine blood work suggested there might be another tumor present. An extensive surgery revealed a lymph node in her mammary gland was cancerous.
The biopsy came back positive. So my family was there, and I had prepared myself for that, so I was almost kind of expecting it. So 2 cancer diagnoses before the age of 30.
Getting a diagnosis of breast cancer changes your life.
Dr. Jane Raymond is an oncologist with the Allegheny Health Network and Talia's doctor. And while patients may be devastated by a reoccurrence, Dr. Raymond says it's not a death sentence.
We can never say that it's not going to return. We have surgery, chemotherapy, hormone therapy, targeted therapies, radiation therapy. All of these treatments work together to eliminate cancer cells and improve the odds of cure.
Dr. Raymond told me that we were going to be aggressive and do everything that we could to, make me better and to cure me. So I'd had 8 rounds of chemo this time.
Followed by where we find Talia today, at radiation therapy. She'll go every weekday for 6 weeks.
After radiation, I should, fingers crossed, I'll be done.
That's from a good friend, Martha.
For Naomi Howard, things are a bit more complicated.
It never occurred to me that I would have cancer.
Naomi's diagnosis came as she was dealing with the illness and eventual death of her mother, and it seemed as though the news was only getting worse.
One of the tests indicated that actually the cancer had already metastasized to my liver. So it had gone through my bloodstream into my liver. So I was dead. So essentially I'm diagnosed with stage 4 cancer out of the gate. And my husband, John, he sat me down and he said, "If you won't fight for you, will you please fight for me? Because I love you with all my heart."
Naomi's cancer was HER2 new positive, a very aggressive form of cancer. But she was shocked by what she heard next. Doctors would try to treat her cancer as a chronic illness.
And I always tell patients this is a good news, bad news thing, because if it's positive, it's a more aggressive cancer. On the other hand, we have targeted therapies.
Targeted therapies, including a drug called Herceptin. Herceptin works by blocking the chemical signals that can stimulate uncontrolled growth. It also alerts the immune system to destroy cancer cells on which it attaches. Under Dr. Raymond's care, Naomi underwent 6 rounds of chemotherapy and Herceptin treatments at the same time.
Hey, and I'm Naomi. Hi, nice to meet you.
When the chemo ended, the Herceptin continued. 4 years later, she still goes for treatment every 3 weeks.
The Herceptin has worked like a charm for me. Well, except for that little cancer reoccurrence in 2012.
All right, let's make pizza for lunch today.
While the cancer in Naomi's liver remained under control, a routine scan detected a small mass deep in her chest wall. Naomi had a mastectomy, but continues to do well on Herceptin.
And that is changing the face of cancer, and that's changing the statistics. So the thought was, with the Herceptin, I had a shot at this.
For both Tonia and Naomi, a social worker and community volunteer, reclaiming their lives has meant raising money for research. It's also meant writing to family and friends.
The blog started out as emails to some friends saying, wow, life's getting pretty bad.
But Naomi now reports on so much that's humorous. It turns out Talia does too.
When I got diagnosed the second time, I said, you know what? I enjoy writing. Social media is like the perfect tool for this. I'm going to start a blog, and it turns out that it's actually really therapeutic for me to write about my feelings and to share the experiences.
Talia has also taken up painting, and her love of baking has led her to start a cupcake company on the side.
I discovered a lot of wonderful things this summer. Primarily is just living in the moment and embracing things that make you happy.
We like to do quirky things and interesting things.
Naomi is doing the same.
So there's things like Mount Rushmore and the unclaimed baggage store in Alabama.
Years before any illness, Naomi started writing down in this book all the places she wanted to visit and all the things she wanted to do. She and John are still doing them.
It's the life I'm living. And you know what? It's not so bad. It's pretty good.
I'd like to present this Warriors in Pink quilt to Allegheny Cancer Center.
Which brings us back to Fashion Night and this celebration of survivors. It's a night that brings laughter, enjoyment, and hope. Just ask model and doctor Jane Raymond.
Probably the greatest message is that a diagnosis of breast cancer is not a death sentence.
And in the end for me, I have strong faith, so I kind of have this philosophy. If I live, I win. If I die, I win. I can't lose.
This is part of the journey I'm on, and this is just something that I have to go through. I'm very proud and very happy to say that I can handle this.